No joke. He was like really ripping into me to the point where I told him to go fuck himself. No joke. He called me a butch dyke. He goes, I don't like the way it makes you look, How could you do that? He was really ripping into me. And I'm like, I'm trying to calm him down. And I said, listen, what's it to you? You know? And, because back then, I was a cute bombshell back then. And, I had guys after me back then. There was one stage I had 4 guys ask me out at once. I had to turn them all down because it's not fair. I didn't want fights to happen. Do you understand? See, that's how much I care for men in general. If I have multiple men coming at me at once wanting to be with me, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn you all down. And that's what I did because I didn't want fights starting. I had Andrew Clegg who latched on to me from day one. Then I had Kane. Then I had Jimmy Maritas. The whole 9 yards. They all come at me on the same day asking me out. What is a girl meant to do? What, be a real true slapper and say yes to all of them? Oh, come on. Got to have some morals, and I turned them all down gently. I said, but I'm still willing to be your friend, except for Andrew Clegg. No, I didn't like him. No. He was a compulsive liar. He would lie all the time. I can't be with someone who's a compulsive liar. You can fucking forget it. Lies through their teeth about anything and everything. I don't want to know you. Steer clear. I didn't want to know him, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. He became very stalkerish, and I bashed him up more than once, pretty badly. There was one time I smashed a basketball hard into his face because he smashed a basketball hard into my fingers and dislocated one of my fingers, and I had to snap it back into place with a fucking, what was it? Phone book. I think Steve had to do it for me with the phone book. Bit of a long story, but yeah. And I'm thinking, I'll get you, I'm going to wait. I'll never forget that day because the pain he caused me. I thought, because what he did was he goes, Clara, think quick. And he quickly, full speed, throwing the basketball at me. I couldn't catch it in time and I ended up dislocating my finger. So I thought, you fucking cunt. I'll get you when you least expect it, cunt. This is what I'm thinking in my head. And I'm very good at getting back at people. I'm stealth. Let me tell you that. I'm stealth. I'm in class, year 11 class. And I'm sitting there and Andrew Clegg's right behind me. He's in my class. I had to put up with his shit for nearly a whole fucking year. But yet still, in my class. And I noticed he's got the basketball. I thought, he loses the basketball, from under his foot because he was dawdling or, whatever the fuck he was doing behind me. And I grabbed the ball, and then I had it. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll get up and I'll say, hey, Clegg, think quick. And I smashed it hard into his face. Blood everywhere. Everyone's laughing their heads off. And I said, how you like that? And then, was I dragged out nearly by the hair by the teacher. Lisa at the time, she was our English teacher. And she fucking snapped at me, Clara, there was no need for you to do. Oh, yes, there was. I said, that's what he did to me, except he got me in the finger, dislocated my finger. I said, no, the cunt deserved what he got. Oh, he was, blood everywhere. He had to go running out and say, what did you do that for? So what do you think, you dickhead? Nah, I could be very vicious. One time I punched him in the back of the head and he nearly lost his eye because he had his pencil like this and I came up from behind him. Fist up like that. Bang! Into the back of his head. His head went smash into the table. I've bashed him up more than once. Boys had quite a fair share. I remember when Kane bashed him up a few times. Kano, let him bleed. Yeah, that Kane. He bashed him up more than once over the years. I guess I'm getting calmer, you never escape from your karma. Like, I knew that kid had problems, Andrew, Andrew Cleggy boy. But yet still, don't like the dude. Never have, never will, because he wouldn't, respect my wishes. And when I said no, I'm not willing to date a compulsive liar, I told him straight to his face. I don't want to be with you. I'm not interested in you in that way whatsoever. Please leave me alone. He wouldn't. The teachers knew. I kept complaining to the teachers about it. They did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. I was forced against my will to use these babies against him every time because he wouldn't fucking listen. Sometimes you had to get violent and physical with someone to get the message through because obviously words don't, do anything. You know what I mean? They're just these men who are obsessed with me don't listen to me. And when people don't listen, I get violent. So if you don't want to get bashed in a relationship with me, you better fucking listen to me. And you'll be okay. You don't want abuse, you better be, with it up here. Because that douchebag, he wouldn't leave me alone at all. He wouldn't give me peace. He kept following me around. Then one time he got jealous because I did have a boyfriend at that stage, Colin. I was with this dude, Colin. And, he would fucking annoy us, follow us everywhere. Clara. That's it. And I bashed him. That was when I punched him in the back of the head. I waited for the right moment. You see, I don't get back at you in an instant right there and then. It's a little bit later. When you least expect it, that's how I roll. And that's when I got the fucking weasel. Yeah, if he was here today, apparently I found out on the grapevine that he's gay now. And that he lost all the weight. He's no longer a chub, but he's gay. And that's what I found out on the grapevine 20, whatever, how many years ago now? Oh, don't know exactly, but he's gay now. Yeah. He kept saying, I'll treat you like a queen. Yeah, you treat me like a queen. By lying to me all the time. Oh, he would lie about everything. That I just can't deal with a compulsive liar. I just don't want to know and I don't care. That's just how I see it. Okay? So, that school, I had so much fights at that school. But the one with Skippy, his name's Skip. That's his nickname. But his real name's Anthony Cox. Me and him were close. And he turned on me all because... And how ironic. He had a shaved head. How dare he get upset because I shaved mine? But, he was in love with me and my hair, obviously. He loved my head of hair. Oh, And since that day, I never spoke to him again since that fight. That's how bad the fight actually was. I stormed off. I yelled at the teacher, called her a slag for just standing there and not butting in. She was just standing there. So I yelled at her, Kathy at the time, and I told Cleve to go fuck himself because he was just standing there gloating. He was enjoying it. You know what I mean? It really hurt me because me and him were just so close. And for him to turn on me like that when I least expected it, Him calling me all these nasty names, you look like a butch dyke. How can I look at you now? Like that. Oh, man. But I'm glad he apologised many, many years later. But, and then I made a joke. I said to him when I saw him, when I was with Isabel that day and I bumped into him at the butcher, I said, are you happy now? Look, I got my hair. And he started laughing. I said, yeah, but it wasn't funny. It was a pretty brutal fight, Anthony. That's what I said to him. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I regret that. But at least he apologised. And he gave me a hug. But that was just fucking uncalled for. And then I get in trouble because when I left and stormed, the principal rang home. I got in trouble for that. I got yelled at for leaving. I said, excuse me, you saw what happened. Do you blame me for leaving? Sometimes the teachers, they're a bit, dodo-ish.